Thank goodness it's Friday. And I'm not in the car this morning. I'm back in my office, which I can't really get the lighting right in my office, and it's still such a mess. Forgive me for a while here. Anyway, uh, I'm going to talk this morning just a little bit uh, concerning the objective reality of spirits, angels, spirits, demons, and things like that. And don't get me wrong, even though I've been quoted for years as saying it's all in your head, you just have no idea how big your head is. Uh, Nevertheless, uh, I want you to know that I believe that the angels, spirits, and demons are as objectively real as anything is. So there. And to answer a couple of questions that people have sent in the last couple of days, uh, drawing me into a discussion about whether the spirits that they name, classic spirits, and they treat them as if they were objective beings that should have characteristics in the same way as a movie star or a president or something like that has. And I can only be drawn into that conversation for so deeply uh, because everybody's objective reality is their own. And Rabbi Ben Clifford, in the valediction of Son of Chicken Kabbalah, attempted, at least, uh, to discuss this and put it in perspective. And that's what I'm going to share with you this morning. As I've repeatedly reminded you, Kabbalah is a system of organizing your mind so that it may perfectly reflect the universal consciousness of existence itself. And Kabbalistic exercises and meditations are designed to show us how everything in our world is connected to everything else, how everything is the reflection of everything else, and how every idea and thought are connected to every other idea and thought. Modern mathematics offers us a perfectly beautiful and elegant model of what Kabbalists have been working with for centuries: fractals. Fractals are a mathematical phenomenon that occurs on all levels of nature. Expressed graphically, fractals generate similar replicating patterns at increasingly larger and/or increasingly smaller scales. Each level almost identical to the level above it and to the level below it, evolving or expanding symmetry. You've probably seen artistically stunning computer-generated examples of fractals. The natural laws are illustrated by fractals, are also on display at all times in terms of consciousness. The supreme consciousness of Godhead is the master pattern, and the infinite multiplicity of all facets of manifest creation, including you and me, and the dimension and objective reality we believe we inhabit, is merely a fractal chain reaction of God consciousness. The primary Hermetic axiom, as above, so below, and the Kabbalistic adage, Kether is in Malkuth, and Malkuth is in Kether, only after another manner, are explicit declarations of this fundamental truth. Alphanumeric properties of the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet are the building blocks of fractal patterns of consciousness. That's why the classic Kabbalah-based God names and the traditional names of archangels, angels, intelligences, and spirits are often found to be mathematically linked to each other by prime numbers or other numeric harmonics based on the number of a specific sephira or path on the tree of life. For example, some of the angels traditionally associated with the planetary sphere of Mercury, and Mercury is the 8th sephira on the tree of life. So, some examples of the angels traditionally associated with the planetary sphere of Mercury are the intelligence Tiriel, and that's spelled Tet Yod Resh Yod Aleph Lamed. Now, add those Hebrew letters together, we get 260. Tiriel, 260. And 260, well, Tiriel is all within the matrix, if you will, of 8. Okay? And 8, and the sum of 8, the sigma of 8, 1, 2, 3, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8, that's called a mystic number, or it's the sigma of 8, is 64. So 64 is 8 times 8. And the sigma of 64 is 2080. And 2080 and 2080 divided by 8. See how we're just screwing with 8 all over the place. So 8 times 8 is 64. The sigma of 64 is 2080. 2080 divided by 8 is 260. And 260 is Tiriel. These guys had a lot of time on their hands. But they also were putting 8 under a microscope and seeing an entire hierarchy of angels whose names are fractals, if you will, of 8. Now the spirit of Mercury is Taf-Tharthareth. Yes, that's the name. Taf-Tharthareth. And Taf-Tharthareth adds to 280, or 2080, or the sigma of 64 being the sigma of 8. Now there's 2 intelligences, spirit lower on the hierarchy of 8, 2 intelligences traditionally associated with the zodiac sign of Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, and they are Din and Dani. And both Din and Dani, or Din is spelled Daleth Yod Nun. They add the 64, which is the square of 8. And Dani is spelled Daleth Nun Yod, which is also 64. Now, the entire I Ching is based on 8 too. It's based on the 8 trigrams. It's based on the 64 hexagrams. Do you see where this is going? Obviously, the number 8 and all cosmic and abstract meanings of all things eightish is the common denominator and the tonic note within which these spirits vibrate, harmonize at their specific level. But as you thumb through all the reference books in your library, you'll encounter hundreds of examples where these alphanumeric harmonies do not neatly appear in a consistent manner. That's to be expected, given the fact that most of our reference books are compilations from multiple sources, written and rewritten, translated and retranslated from Hebrew to multiple languages, all with different pronunciations and renderings of Hebrew. Some even mixed with Greek and Latin letters, then into English. However, it's abundantly clear that in the mythical Eden, the ideal and pristine Kabbalah, the divine letters began as the perfect alphanumeric building blocks forming divine words, which were the perfect alphanumeric building blocks forming divine sentences, which were the perfect alphanumeric building blocks forming divine paragraphs, which were the perfect alphanumeric building blocks forming divine chapters, which were the perfect alphanumeric building blocks of the book of life itself, to the mind of God itself. Tiriel and Taphtharthareth and Din and Dani may hold a special place in your tradition-loving heart. And indeed, you might want to consciously work with them as mercurial forces in or raising your consciousness to the level of the Sephirah Hod, or the path of Zion on the tree of life. But Tiriel and Taphtharthareth and Din and Dani and all the traditional angels and spirits of the Kabbalah and medieval magic are not in and of themselves crystallized or sacrosanct magical beings living objective lives in some Kabbalistic boarding house. Hell no, the rabbi slips into himself. Some real live person in the past made them up. Somebody just like you or me used their Kabbalah skills and imagination and invented all the gods, all the archangels, angels, intelligences, spirits, and demons. As a matter of fact, using your mastery of the Hebrew alphabet, you could right now set to work to create your own personal and unique 8-based pantheon of spiritual forces of your own. You could build their names from Hebrew letters, enumerating to numbers that have 8 as a conspicuous factor. Your knowledge of the proper colors reveals what these angels look like. Your knowledge of their elemental, planetary, or zodiacal makeup reveals their specific powers and gifts. Think about it. Your own private hierarchy of spiritual beings, immediately and intimately linked to you, because you are the creator and they are your creations. That's the kind of thing grown-up Kabbalists do. That's what Kabbalah is all about. And now, my dear friend and comrade, here at the conclusion of your initiatory journey, and I'm saying that because this book has gone to great lengths in 3-degree initiations or self-initiations to implant that Hebrew alphabet deep in your psyche. So I'm addressing the people that have gone through this book. At the conclusion of your initiatory journey, I'm suggesting you do just that. Create your own angels. Create your own personal hierarchy of heaven. Think of it as an exercise or think of it as your great work. Make it simple. God name, archangel who works for the God name, angel who works for the archangel, intelligence who works for the angel, spirit who works for the intelligence. Start out with the tree of life as your ladder, reaching up through the levels of consciousness. Base your first set of names on number 10, then number 9, then 8, then 7, then 6, then 5, then 4, then 3, and 2, and finally 1. That'll be a challenge. You don't think you can do something like that? Hell yes, you can do. You are a chicken Kabbalist. Don't worry about it. Just start. And I'm not, this isn't the be-all and end-all, but Chicken Kabbalah and son of Chicken Kabbalah, even if you were in solitary confinement, even if you were alone on a desert island, even if you are a solitary practitioner, there's enough in those books to implant and reprogram your psyche, to squirt WD-40 into your psyche. The Kabbalistic. The Hebrew alphabet is WD-40 of your soul. Oh, God. Okay. Until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Start your weekend right now. Be careful, be cautious, be conscious of the safety of other people around you. And we'll see you on Saturday morning. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.